Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading's Sunday Earth Day service. We are a regional church serving communities north of Boston, and with our online outreach, folks all over the country and maybe even the world. I'm not sure. I'd have to ask our tech team about that. My name is Allison Sillers, and I am a member of the Worship Arts Committee and also a member of the tech team. And today, I am also the chair of the Green Sanctuary. I guess every day I'm the chair of the Green Sanctuary, but it's particularly relevant today. Today we gather to create a space to grow in spirit, relationship, and compassion, where we nurture and explore individual spirituality, build a committed and loving community, and help heal the world. We welcome you no matter your age, gender identity, sexual orientation, differing abilities, or cultural or religious background, or even your spiritual beliefs, or your political perspective. We welcome you if this has been your spiritual home for 5 years or for 50. If you are a member, a regular visitor, stopped in once or twice. If this is your first time with us, we are so happy you have joined us. If you're joining us online, please check our website for more information about UUCR. Here you can find details about our church community, sign up for our weekly newsletter, and find the contact information for Melissa Martin, our Member Services Coordinator, who can answer any of your questions. Later in our service, we're officially going to collect our offering, but for now, I'll take a moment just to remind you about our April Share the Plate recipient. This is our last week in April. In honor of Earth Month, the Green Sanctuary team, of which I am a part, has selected Mass Climate Action Network, MCAN, as our Share the Plate recipient for the month of April. MCAN is a statewide network of city and town-based organizations working to address climate change. It also advocates at the state and regional level to decrease climate change causing pollution and improve statewide energy and climate policies and programs. If you are watching the service during its initial broadcast at 10 a.m. today, April 24th, please join us after the service for our social hour via Zoom, hosted by Tom Model this week. For those of us in the sanctuary this morning, please join me and Ann Mark outside after the service for social hour, hosted by Green Sanctuary. We have information on how you can get involved in simple ways to combat climate change, and we will have snacks and drinks for all, including cheddar bunnies for the kids. Thank you for being with us this morning, and thanks to our wonderful tech team helping us behind the scenes, Robin and Al. Please know that you belong here, maybe just for the next hour, although we hope for longer. You belong here, and we're glad that you're joining us today.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Katie McQuaige-Lucas, your ministerial intern, and my pronouns are she and hers. We're a couple of days past Earth Day, and we're about to come up on Arbor Day. So this is a time to think about our future, what we can plant now, what we can nurture, what we want to grow. Later in our service, we'll be inviting you forward to select a seed to plant in these little cups of peat and take home with you. Perhaps part of you is looking for adventure or excitement, and I have some spicy pepper seeds for that. Maybe the bright sweetness of tomatoes will speak to you, or the earthiness of oregano. And so as our service unfolds this morning, consider what you would like to nurture in your life. This day of all days, we acknowledge that we are creatures of this planet and this place. Spirit of earth, ground us in wisdom. Spirit of air, inspire us with fresh knowledge and ideas. Spirit of fire, enliven us with courage and boldness. Spirit of water, move us and carry us. Come, enter, and let us worship together. And now I'd like to invite forward Jaden and Gavin Keeling to light our chalice.
In the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, we gather this day. May the flame we now kindle be to us a symbol of the holiness we seek.
And now please join in our children's affirmation. We are Unitarian, Universalist, Church of the open mind, the loving heart, and the helping hands. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to sing. Our opening hymn this morning is a favorite of many in that top 5 of your hymnal favorites. This might be one. Morning Has Broken, number 38. Please rise in body or spirit.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm Mary Wallman-Crowe, and my pronouns are she and her. So this is the time in our service where we like to invite our children and youth and anyone else who wants to move and stretch and breathe forward. Or you can stay seated. You are going to be moving and stretching no matter where you are today. I hate to break it to you. Good morning. So did you hear when Katie spoke at the beginning, she talked about the earth, the air, and the fire, and the water, when we had our opening words? So that's one way of helping to create a sacred space for ritual and worship, that we honor our planet, our sacred Mother Earth. And so right now, we're going to imagine that we are the earth, the air, and the fire, and the water. So I'm going to invite you to all stand up if you're willing and able. And if you want, you can stay seated as well. This will also be fine. Yeah. And when you stand up, make sure that you have enough room to stretch your arms out to the side. So you might just have to, move away a little. Good. And then we're going to lower our arms down by our sides. And send your awareness, your imagination down into your feet. Feeling the feet on the floor, or your seat in the chair if you're seated. Maybe you want to lift your toes and then place them back down, or feel your heels rooted into the earth. Feel the earth strong and steady underneath you. And now imagine that your feet are growing roots. Deep roots like the roots of a tree reaching into the earth, being nourished by all the nutrients of the rich soil underneath. And on your next inhale, feel the inhale rise up from your roots, up your body to the crown of your head. And then exhale, the air goes back down into the earth. Inhale, feel the air wash up the body, and exhale down. One more like that. Inhale, and exhale. And now let's add the arms to that. So as you inhale, we're going to reach the arms out to the sides and maybe overhead if that's comfortable. And as you exhale, bring the arms down. Inhale, fill your body with the element of air. And then exhale, let that air flow out to meet the air all around you. One more like that. Inhale, reach up. And exhale down. And then this time, as you inhale and reach up overhead, bring your hands together in front of your heart. Good. We're going to start to rub the hands together, maybe slowly at first, and then maybe a little faster, and a little faster. Feeling this heat, the warmth that your body's creating, the spark of life, the fire, the energy between your hands. Faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. A little bit faster, Ethan. And then stop and place the hands on your heart. Let the warmth of your hands radiate into your heart, and let your heart pump that warmth through every cell of your body. The heart sending waves of warmth, waves of energy and light through your body. And then let's bring the arms down by the sides once more. And notice your right shoulder. We're going to draw the right shoulder slightly forward, up toward your ear, back down behind you, and then again. Inhale up, back and down. Inhaling up, back and down. Let that motion be really fluid and liquid. Now let's do that on the other side. Left shoulder forward, up, back, and down. Flowing like the water that makes up about 60 or 70% of your body. And then we'll switch sides again. We're going to alternate. So right and then left. Letting that motion be fluid. Riding on the currents of life. And then find stillness once more. And just take a moment to thank the earth beneath you, the air all around you, the fire within you, and the water of life for sustaining you and nourishing you. Thank you. So we're going to return to our seats for more worship and song.
Good morning. This is a poem by Wendell titled "The Peace of Wild Things." When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free.
And now, as we do each Sunday, we light our candle of community, thinking of all who are a part of this congregation and all of those who are part of our larger community beyond these walls. We also light our blue and our yellow candles this morning to honor the courage of the people of Ukraine and our connection to all who struggle for freedom and self-determination and who seek peace. May the flames of our candles remind us of our connections near and far, and may they be a celebration of our interdependence. Will you please join me in prayer? Holy and sacred earth, we live in you and on you. We are born from you, and we will return to you. It is all too easy to separate ourselves, to forget that we are material bodies just as much as we are our minds and our spirits. Help us to remember that we belong to you. Help us to remember that we are responsible to you and to all other things and beings with whom we share our home. We pray for the courage to face the challenges ahead, the wisdom to seek and find solutions so that we might, together, work to heal this world of ours. Amen, and may it be so. And now I would like to invite you to come forward, and we still have our candle stations, and we do invite you to light a candle for your own silent prayer as you usually would. But we also have seeds at those stations, and we have peat cups. And so please come forward and choose a seed to plant and to take home with you. You coming straight up?
Now we have a reading by Allison Fallon called Tiny Blades of Hope. A few months before Matt and I got married, some landscapers came to our house and planted grass seed in our backyard. I grew up in Oregon, but now that I live in California, I've realized that when you don't water your yard, say to conserve water in a drought, the grass dies. Who knew? Since Matt and I were getting ready to host our rehearsal dinner in our backyard, we wanted the grass looking extra lush. The landscapers tore out the remaining patches of barely alive grass, tilled the soil, fertilized the whole thing, and then put down grass seed. We looked at what had been a sad-looking joke of a lawn and realized that now it looked even worse and smelled like manure to top it off. We looked at our yard and then each other. Had we just made a terrible mistake? We could not believe that in 30 days, this manure pile was going to be presentable enough for a rehearsal dinner. We watched the yard like hawks. Every morning, we woke up and went to the back window, conveniently near the coffee. We peeked to see if any grass was coming up. Day after day, we did this. A week passed, and nothing. Then another week. We started making contingency plans. But then, right around the 2-week mark, Matt woke up one morning and went to make the coffee. He pulled back the curtains like he usually did. That's when I heard him shout from the other room. I stumbled to the kitchen. He was already in the backyard, staring at what I hoped was grass. I followed his lead, and we knelt on the deck together. Sure enough, there they were in all their glory, thousands upon thousands of tiny blades of grass. We had resigned ourselves to the possibility that it might not come. See how much we rely on our senses? To know that something is true, we want to see it. Once those tiny sprouts popped up, the grass actually grew quite quickly. Or maybe it was at the same pace, but now that we could see it, it seemed faster. Finally, a week before the wedding, the landscaper had to come back and mow. That's how lush the grass was. Here's what I realized after this episode of trusting, waiting, panicking, and finally seeing. The early stages of growth happen under the surface. Time does not heal all wounds, but when we plant something new and give it a little bit of water and nurture and patient attention, over time, we do see the threads of hope show up. Things do change. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. And one day, we wake up and see that after all that waiting, things are actually quite lush.
So I was originally going to do a bit of talking and then a bit of meditating and thinking about seeds, but as it turns out, thinking about seeds and talking about seeds interweaves really well, so it's not quite as separated as I'd originally planned. But let's take a moment to think about our seeds. Maybe the seeds that you picked up here, or maybe the less tangible hopes and dreams you have for your future, for our future. What do we need to grow? What do we need to be brave and to be committed? And what will give us the resilience and strength we need to face our uncertain future? You can close your eyes for a few minutes, or if that feels uncomfortable, and it does for some people, just soften your gaze so that you're not looking at anything in particular. And breathe slowly and deeply. And let us all imagine that we are very small, that we are curled up tightly, that we are nestled somewhere dark and safe. Perhaps some of us are asleep in this safe, cozy place. Maybe we are simply very relaxed. And then maybe something inside of us tugs a little and says it's time. It's time to unfold and to stretch and to seek something. Maybe some of us know what we're seeking, maybe we don't. But we know that before we can reach out all the way, we need to grow strong. And so what do we need to wake up and to grow? If you were feeling the tug of gravity and you sink your roots down into the earth, what are they looking for? There's water down there, cool moisture. There are nutrients. And when we seek those things, when we send forth our networks of roots, we find stability. We are held by the earth, and we hold on to the earth. What does it feel like to know that you have enough, that you are stable and solid? At the same time that our roots have been stretching out, we've been wanting to uncurl and push upward. What is drawing us there? There's sunlight up there somewhere and warmth. Maybe there's hope. Maybe our desire to stretch is seeking challenge. How do we unfold? How do we emerge and reach for something greater than ourselves? There are an almost infinite number of plants and seeds, and we're all different. What is calling you? We are rooted and reaching. We are grounded, and yet we are still becoming. And there is work happening invisibly and slowly that will only come into visibility with time and patience. So take a few moments to imagine what you need, you as an individual seed, in terms of nourishment and support, so that you can grow to become your full self. But we're not just individual seeds growing alone. Just like the roots of plants, we are interwoven, connected in a vast network, sharing in the earth and water, reaching together for the warm sun and fresh air. And so what do we all need to feel supported and nourished? So take one last deep breath and return now to this moment, to this time and this place, and open your eyes when you feel ready. A friend of mine is an organizer for climate action. And he told me that of all the people he works with, the people who are my age, his age, and younger are filled with despair. And the people that are around our age and older alternate between despair and denial. And the true state of the climate crisis is something that's really hard to grab and hold on to for very long. And I think people who grew up when I did, I grew up watching Captain Planet and recycling and planting trees and doing all of the things that I knew I was supposed to do. And I think a lot of us thought that, yes, my individual action will be enough, and we're going to turn this around. And I know I at least was raised to be really optimistic about our chances. And it is more than clear that that turnaround did not happen. Of all the emissions since the Industrial Revolution began, more than half were emitted in my lifetime. Every climate report, including the ones released in the last 2 weeks, are very clear that the window for action is narrowing and narrowing quickly, and that it's too late to totally prevent warming. We can only mitigate it and try our best to keep it below a threshold. And we all know how dire this crisis is. I don't think anyone in this room needs me to go through the litany of disasters we can attribute to climate change or to list the disasters yet to come. And I don't blame anyone for responding to this with despair or denial, because those do seem like the only rational responses to a truly existential crisis. Watching the end of the world unfold in front of us, there are only so many ways a human being can react and respond to something so horrible. And just as I don't need to list everything that has gone wrong with our life on this earth, I don't think I need to tell you all what we have to do. And there are voices clearer than mine and people who know a whole lot more than I do. And there are organizations at every level, local and state and federal and denominational organizations and international organizations, and all of these groups are making demands. They're pointing the way. They're placing demands on law and policymakers, and they're also calling us to action. There are people working to hold industries accountable, and there are people enacting whole spectrums of responses, from civil disobedience to lobbying city councils and federal governments. None of these actions alone will be enough. Somehow, it will all come together, but we don't know if it will be enough to stop the harm done to the earth. And it's another order of magnitude entirely to try to fully turn the tide and undo what has been done. But here we are. We are embodied and we are alive and here on this planet of ours, and it's the only one we have. So how will we survive? How will we keep going and do the work that we need to do in the face of such sorrow? On Earth Day, and indeed on all days, we know that what part of what calls us to action is the planet itself, the earth that is our home. And we must also remember that the earth is the source of what strengthens us. She feeds us, she waters us. And sometimes we see ourselves, humanity, as somehow separate from the natural world, as if we are so detached from it we can only use it or cause it harm. And while we can and we do harm the world around us, we are also a part of this world. And while we often take more than we should, the natural world does give to us to offer us all that we need to live. We human beings, we are in relationship with and within the natural world, embedded in it and part of it. The sun shines on us too. And so the joy we find in the beauty of this world is our birthright. And being open to that is what will save our spirits in the difficult work we are called to do. The grief and the pain that we feel are real, and the despair is real as well. And those feelings can be spurs or goads to action, but they can also paralyze us. And when rage or fear or grief moves us to action, those are fires that can burn out. And they can burn us out instead of sustaining us for the long haul. It is delight that will sustain us. It is beauty, it is joy, it is wonder. It is the peace that we can find for a little while among the trees or along the waters. And while it might seem easier to close myself off to the feelings of grief and pain, when I do that, I'm also closing off the possibilities of wonder and hope. Joy and wonder and hope, these are the things that we need desperately if we are going to do the work that lies before us. And not a passive hope. That just boils down to optimism and denial. We need an active hope, something that pulls us and pushes us and that acts on us so that we can then turn to action ourselves. And I believe that the sources that will sustain us lie in remembering our interdependence. And remembering that will again cause grief and pain, but I believe that if I do not flinch in the face of it, I will simultaneously find glimmers of hope. Acknowledging my interdependence reminds me of how much I myself have contributed to environmental damage and collapse, but it also reminds me that I am not alone. It wakens me to the beauty in the world around me, to deeper understanding of my relationship to a larger world, and yes, it awakens me to joy and to hope. Opening my heart reminds me that there is a larger history here, and while my individual efforts are wildly insufficient in the face of a large problem, that is because the problem is larger than any single individual could have ever contributed to it in the first place. And if I can keep my heart open enough to continue to engage in the work of climate justice and all the other forms of justice this world demands of me, if I can square up and endure through the ache of grief and sorrow and perhaps even a little bit of shame or feelings of complicity, I will remember that I do have my own small measure of power, and that it is joined to the power of others, and that even if I cannot do everything, I can do something. And there is a little bit of faith in that view because I can't see the full network. I can't imagine the fullness of results of what might come in the future. And so this hope is a fragile thing. Just as the seed in your cup is a small and fragile thing. And I can't promise, and none of us can promise, that every seed will thrive. Not every seed makes it. And so we can't know that all of our actions will ultimately bear fruit. Or they may do so so far removed from us in time and space that we will never know what fruit they bore. But in remembering our interdependence, that we are accompanied in our hopes and dreams by so many others, we can also hope and believe that slowly and invisibly changes are happening that may yet one day reveal a transformation. And so when despair for the world grows in us, remember that the world does also offer us peace. The peace of wild things, the peace of forests or deep waters. The world offers us balm for our spirits, just as much as it offers nourishment for our bodies. And so today, on this Earth Day, wonder at the mystery of our presence here on this earth today. Rejoice in the beauty of this world of ours and open your hearts to joy, even amidst the grief. Amen. And may it be so.
Now is the moment to share our financial support for the ongoing mission of UUCR. If you are new to UUCR, sharing your time with us is more than generous enough. For our offertory today, online donations can be made using the link provided in the YouTube chat or by clicking Donate in the menu bar of our website, uureading.org. Those of us in the sanctuary can find an easy-to-use QR code on the back of the printed order of service, or you can place your physical donation of cash or check in the offertory plates that our ushers will be walking through the sanctuary. Please ask the ushers if you need assistance. Please give generously to our Share the Plate offering to support both Massachusetts Climate Action Network and the mission of UUCR. The morning offering will be generously given and gratefully received.
I have some announcements and congregational updates for you this morning. By now, you should have received a direct email with a link to the Conversation Circle theme survey. And so if you haven't done so yet, please take a few moments to fill that out. It's anonymous, and you don't have to have participated in a conversation circle. We want to really hear from everyone. Our goal is to use this information in the search for a contract minister and eventually a developmental minister for the years beyond that. Your answers are also going to guide as a strategic planning document is developed, and so your thoughts and your ideas matter. So thank you in advance for filling that out. This week we have lots of opportunities for engagement, both online and in person. You can join us in person for the Buddhist meditation, for evening sanctuary, for choir rehearsal, for coffee with me at Cafe Nero on Fridays. Or you can join us online for Buddhist meditation, a social crafty fun drop-in, a lunchtime chat, or the young adult small group ministry. Excuse me. You'll also want to be in touch and let us know if you'd like to participate in our congregational life by participating in the Mother's Day Walk for Peace in 2 weeks on Sunday, May 8th in Dorchester. If you're interested in walking with fellow UUCR congregants, let us know this week and we'll arrange details for meeting up to participate together. Also be in touch if you want to participate in the Ferry Beach weekend in Saco, Maine that is scheduled for the weekend of June 3rd to June 5th. The newsletter has information on how to reserve your space and enjoy time away together with your fellow UUs. And if you'd like more information, reach out to Melissa or Debbie Vance, our Ferry Beach volunteer coordinator. We hope that you can be with us next Sunday for our child dedication service, where we will officially welcome 4 little ones into our church family, honor their young lives, and pledge our support for them and for their families. Religious education will also resume next Sunday as well. And today, those of you who are in the sanctuary are invited to stay for social hour hosted by the Green Sanctuary team. And for those of you joining us online today, you're invited to join in the Zoom social hour with fellow congregants hosted this week by Tom Model. Thank you for being a vital part of our congregational life.
We're going to sing a hymn out of the Gray Hymnal 163. It's written by Kim Oler, who is a singer, and it's a beautiful piece that is a part of the Misa Gaia, the Mass for the Earth, that Paul Winter wrote many, many years ago, but is still a wonderful piece. So please rise in body or spirit and sing 163, for the world, for the earth forever turning.
I'd like to invite Astrid forward to help me extinguish our chalice this morning. Please join me in the words which are in the order of service and dropped into the chat. We extinguish this flame but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts. I close this morning with the words of Wayne B. Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down, there is another truth. You are not alone. And so let us rejoice in the earth this day. Let us celebrate this Earth Day. And may the joy and the beauty you find sustain you in the days and weeks to come. And may you remember always that you are not alone. Go in peace, and blessed be.